Well, hello and welcome to another episode of Love One Life. Today we are talking about momentum.
It's not like I'm frittering my days away, but I still don't feel like I've got momentum to the place that I want to get to and things that I want to achieve.
I was at war with myself and said there's no momentum because I'm not sure which direction I'm moving in.
That's a really good point. You were at war with yourself.
And it destabilised me a bit because I thought we were moving one direction. And then when you change direction, you are changing your momentum as well.
If we put last year into context then a little bit, you were thinking a lot. You were thinking a lot, and that doesn't create momentum. Action creates momentum, and energy creates momentum.
I need to focus on it. I need to take some action every day to build some momentum in that direction. Because otherwise, if there's no direction, you're not pointing where you want to go, and there's no movement. But,
this is real life, guys. This is like living in the moment. I'm trying to share with you. You may have these struggles as well.
Well, hello and welcome to another episode of Love One Life. I'm Fred and this is Drea. Today we are talking about momentum. We know that it's the year of the horse, which is all about momentum. And we have got a conversation that goes into momentum in terms of what it means to us, what it can mean for you, things we've done in our world to build momentum, things you might want to think about how to build momentum in your own life. Drea, do you want to tell us a bit about what you've been thinking on momentum?
Okay, so this topic came up around last year. It was the tail end of last year. And the reason that it was so important to us was actually because Fred felt like he didn't have momentum. Would that be right?
That's right.
It was a topic of conversation that just kept rearing its head. I'm busy, I'm doing stuff. It's not like I'm frittering my days away, but I still don't feel like I've got momentum to the place that I want to get to and things that I want to achieve. So I pondered on this, as I often do with Fred when he delivers me a problem. I try to find a solution, maybe a little bit of the masculine in me, rather than I'm not the kind of person, I suppose, that would sit there and just go, oh, poor Fred, that must be so hard for you.
You're a problem solver.
I'm a problem solver. So first of all, he needed a new journal. And so every year I buy him a new one, and it's a bespoke one. And I put a little quote on there, depending on how he's feeling at the tail end of every year, because it usually takes you about a year to fill these books up as well.
Yeah.
So each year it will be completely different. And this one was "The Greats Don't Wait. Motion creates momentum, and momentum reveals opportunities that standing still never could." I wanted that every time that Fred was going to be writing in his journal, and every night that he does, which tends to be the regular, that he looks at that and it makes him feel some kind of way, and it kind of inspires him a little bit like a motto. And then I think January hit. And then alongside everybody else, you start to think a little bit like, what do I want from this year? What's going to happen? What am I going to do for myself? How am I going to transform myself? How am I going to better myself? And I started reading again, 10x is easier than 2x. And I was really taken by this. I started writing notes about it, and then I'd go through the notes with you because you're a summary guy. You like a summary usually.
Yeah, the short version, not the long version. It's always my favourite.
So I'd sit there and go, right, this means that. Just be a line and a line and a line. And we sat down and we looked at how were we going to create momentum in Fred's life. What did you feel like when we sat there and when we looked at it?
I suppose the backdrop to this is probably momentum in business and the joy that we were getting, I was getting out of business more than this is a personal life thing. But it does roll over and it does affect that as well.
Massively affects us because we work together.
Yeah.
And we run business.
Yeah, and we are building momentum in this. My music releases, in the book releases that you've got behind you over there. So we are all about creating momentum. But this particular conversation was around what we were doing in business, a way of describing a target audience, a particular kind of target audience. We had a plan. And then Drea had been reading the 10X book, and you were getting back into how much of the plan is what you want versus what you think you need. And I stood there going, well, I don't really know to some extent because we've got no momentum. And when I say momentum, I feel like, it's just alive. It's stuff's happening all the time. People are coming in, people are popping up. It's when you're feeling like a particular project's quite early on in its infancy, it's sort of stood still. And it's some of the hardest things is to get something moving. So we talked about it, and what we realized was maybe the target wasn't what I really enjoyed.
Mm.
It was something I probably perceived that just people need. Then it was a case of when I'm looking at what I really wanted, we went back to more of my core background, which is in advanced engineering, aerospace, motorsport,
The
r-
things that excite
rail,
you.
yeah, clever, complex machinery
Yeah.
all coming together as a system, as a solution. And so we then had some quite significant discussions about changing the whole focus. And I think some of it also came out of feedback on our website offering and everything
Mm.
else. I was getting feedback and people were saying, well, it's quite bespoke and focused on a certain market, but I thought you were going generic. And I was at war with myself. And so there's no momentum because I'm not sure which direction I'm moving in,
That's a really good point. You were at war with yourself.
yeah, at one time. So it destabilized me a bit because I thought we were moving one direction. And then when you change direction, you are changing your momentum as well because momentum is related to direction. So it was difficult for a while to get through
Yeah.
that. But what we've done is we've come out the other side with a more focused offering for a more focused type of customer.
Mm.
And as a result, we are building momentum actually quicker now that we are more intentional, more focused. But it's then the intentional action that we're taking every day to move that thing along.
Tell them how you define momentum. If you were to describe it, would you have like an analogy?
Yeah, so I'm an engineer, right, by trade and by education. So I know that momentum equals mass times velocity, which sounds probably very boring, but it's basically the weight of something on Earth, in our case, and also velocity is the speed in a particular direction. So if you think of an oil tanker and it's moving along at, I don't know, 15 miles an hour, if you turn the engines off, it's not going to instantly stop because it has momentum. It has big mass and it already has some speed. So that is an equivalence of an energy.
Mm.
And gradually, the friction between the ship and the water will slow the ship down, but it will take a long time unless the ship puts it into reverse and applies energy in the opposite direction. When you think of momentum, it's how big and heavy the thing it is that's running along and the direction in which it's traveling. And then when you're stationary,
Yes.
like a car is a stationary thing, if you need to push that car along, it's really hard at the beginning to start pushing that car because it has no momentum. And the momentum is you've got a heavy mass, but you've got no speed in that direction.
Yours, if we put like last year into context in a little bit, you were thinking a lot. You were thinking a lot, and that doesn't create momentum. Action creates momentum, and energy creates momentum. Would that be right?
Absolutely, yeah. Without putting intentional action, which is putting the energy into a situation, yeah.
Mm.
Thinking is consuming energy, but you're idling. You're not moving anywhere. You cannot generate any motion from thinking. You
Yes.
can come up with plans, but then you have to take action. So intentional action is saying which direction do I want to move in, so that then as I put my energy in, I'm actually building momentum in a direction that makes me feel happier than actually I'm just trying to please everybody else, and therefore I'm going in a direction that I'm not totally happy with. So if I need to change course later, it's always harder. The bigger you are, the bigger the ship, the harder it is to change course quickly.
I was joking with you, and I was like, "Well, you're 6'3" and built like you are,
Yeah.
and I'm not that tall and built like I am, and so maybe I'm a bit more agile when it comes to moving with that momentum than you. And also, I would say as well, our family, and I don't know about your guys, but our family are a family of thinkers. There is like a lot of thinking that happens in this house. If we could capture it all in a jar, it would combust with the amount of thinkage that goes on.
We have our fair share, and it's not always a benefit.
Mm.
It's overthinking is a bit of a curse on
Mm.
all of us, and trying to get yourself into a good headspace, which there's a variety of philosophies and methods out there, but
Yeah,
creating that kind of being in the present moment and stopping the constant thinking and realizing that you aren't your thoughts, you are the consciousness behind your thoughts is one of the key things that brings us to this kind of podcast, isn't it?
absolutely. And how does that go in the middle of the night for you sometimes
It's
too, Fred?
fantastic. When I'm struggling with my sleeps, one of my things I struggle with is I get so busy and active in my brain during the day if I'm doing stuff. So now we're creating momentum and then my brain's really busy and engaged. And then it just struggles to wind down at night. So I get to sleep, but then I wake up at It's 3 o'clock in the morning
Mm.
and it's just chugging away straight away. I'm like, no, 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 turn off, turn off, turn off. I don't need to hear from you right now.
Yeah, it's a struggle, isn't it?
Yeah.
And we've had to also put other things into place for those times, because when you do build momentum and when you do build that energy and you are like, go, 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 and sometimes it will be completely intentional, but let's be honest, we're human. And so sometimes it's not an intentional things that we're doing. So we end up being busy and our mind is busy. And, even when we're walking, we've got like a million tabs open in our mind. And so we're jumping from this to this to this to this. And that, for some people, does not slow down at night as well. And if you happen to wake up and your system turns on again, it's like the computer started back up and the music's playing over here, and then you've got music running through your body as well constantly. Never mind. He's got like a beat that goes on in his head constantly. It's bizarre. It's brilliant.
Different beats,
It's different beats,
depending on the day.
And party trick, his toes move like fingers. Just like, we're going to have to get his socks off in a minute and show you. There's some momentum going on those toes, let me tell you. But basically, we wake up in the middle of the night, and the one thing that I had to keep on reminding Fred to do was, if there's stuff going on there and you just can't shut it down, because let's be honest, sometimes we can't, you have to write it down, don't you? You have to grab like a notepad and then write down whatever it is, because you will try and solve the world's problems in the middle of the night at 3 o'clock in the morning, won't you?
I will try and solve my problems. I don't
Which
try and solve
feel
the
like
world's.
worldly problems.
I gave up on the world problem solving thing a long time ago, probably in my early 20s, when I realized this is a waste of my time. I might have a few opinions on a few things, but I try not to get too involved in all of that.
We have had a laugh listening to the quandaries that go on in Fred's mind at 3 in the morning, including cars. And which cars would he keep and which cars
been
would he
pretty
get
good
rid
with that
of?
recently.
It's been really, really good. But I do feel like that when you put one thing down, you pick up another problem. You're a little collector of them. So
I'm an engineer. I'm a
you
problem
are.
solver, right?
Got to find a problem.
And the thing is, if you've been trained to solve problems, sometimes it's hard to stop solving them.
Yeah. And I do think it's good to stop solving them, though.
It is,
Isn't it?
And it's refreshing.
Yeah, isn't it?
Yeah.
So on that note then, say it's the weekend, yeah, and you've created some really good momentum during your week and you're going for it. Is it okay to slow down, or will that stop the momentum going for the rest of the week?
Maybe there's a way of looking at this, right? So there's the momentum is the natural, you've got the mass and the speed you're moving at. But if you're burning really hard to add more momentum, and that's the thing here. So
Okay.
you're putting lots of energy in to create more momentum. If you burn the engine out, then the engine might pop and then you'll gradually start slowing down because you're burnt out. So the thing to do is try not to get lost in burning too hard to try and get too much momentum too quickly.
Right.
And then the other piece that we come on to then is where distractions from your journey.
Right.
If you say, this is the way I want to go, I've decided they're going to focus in on this particular segment, marketplace, whatever it is in your life you want to do. But there's always these things along the side saying, pick me too, pick me too. Maybe it's the stuff that you used to do or that you've tried to say you're moving away from. The moment you distract yourself, you're now steering off course, and you may even have to slow down to stop and pick up a passenger of something you don't really want, and you head off in a different direction. Now you've lost momentum again. And now you're trying to build again, but you might not be on the original path. You might be on a different path.
So you have to keep checking in with yourself regularly, making sure that you're staying a course.
So when you're staying on a course, what is it that you want to have as your outcome? What is the benefit, the why of your journey? If you're always focused on that, you're more likely to keep steering back on track, because life will always push you off.
Yeah.
And I know I get pushed off all the time. And one of my issues, actually, being honest, the fact that I've got these multiple strands that I am really interested in rather than one. I'm often quite envious of people when they've got this one strand that they really push it hard and they do really well with it because they're really focused on one thing. When you're focused on 5 things, it's really hard to build momentum in 5 things. And we know, I keep trying.
Will not learn.
I keep proving to myself it doesn't work over and over again. It is hard. But yeah, if you come off course and you're not focused on where you need to be going, you end up drifting and drifting and drifting. You set out to do this, but you ended up doing that. But there's something deep down in you, maybe that says, actually, I really wanted to either go back to this, or I've got this new place I'd like to go to, but I need to focus on it. And I need to take some action every day to build some momentum in that direction. Because otherwise, if there's no direction. You're not pointing where you want to go,
Yeah.
and there's no movement, and there's nothing about you. There's no gravity. There's no mass. Maybe like a feather or a leaf in the wind, just being
Yeah.
blown around, depending on what everyone else wants from you.
So checking in with yourself and making sure that you are sticking to your why is super important. It sounds like resetting or allowing yourself not to burn out. So yeah, take time on weekends when you can, or
Oh, we
downtime.
definitely feel that, right? And you've shown me that over and over again, because I will tend to keep pushing hard, 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 and then my brain just ends up in a bit of a burnout phase, and then you're becoming much less useful, much less efficient, not sleeping properly, and your progress then really slows. So you're better off getting a steady pace. Liken it to, I'm a cyclist or a
Mhm.
mountain biker. If you try and go up a hill at the pace of people in front of you where they're fitter than you, you'll burn out on the
Mm.
hill, because it's not your pace, it's their pace. They're used to going at that pace up a hill. You aren't. And so I learned years ago, when you hit a hill, you have to go up it at your own pace. That's the way you're going to get to the top. So I might find that somebody that I'm riding with, who maybe they're often lighter than me by quite a significant amount, well, I'll just let them shoot off in front.
So even if you're on the same course as them, you have to be at your own pace for your own momentum, because everybody
That's
has.
a really good point, because life is full of hills, isn't it?
Mhm. No, that's it. We've all got different fuel in the tank. And in the same way of me and you going up the same hill, and what you can do on a bike versus what I can do on a bike, and chasing you or trying to keep up with you and all that kind of thing, it's going to feel different. It's going to feel different for me.
Very much so, because you've got different muscle memory and different stamina levels in different parts of your body. And I think of the momentum is affected. If you're putting in more energy than you have, you burn out and you go pop, which is why you sometimes need to slow down. It's like being energy efficient with the car.
Mm.
Whereas if the car has a massive engine and has loads of fuel in it, they're going to be able to scream up the hill faster. But when you reach the top of the hill, you can then sort of coast down the other side. And that feels a bit like life as well. When you've built up some momentum, you've built up some energy, and you can then let the thing roll down the other side,
And
and you're
that's nice.
converting technically potential to kinetic energy. You're connecting height to rolling in back into speed. Then at that point, your life gets easier until you hit the next hill.
Hands up if you're learning something here today. Science class all over again, except much needed and listened to this time.
You know, I was something I wanted to bring up, which I thought was a really good example. A long years ago with trains, let's say you had a steam train and you have all these carriages. Now, the steam train could not pull all the carriages away from the station on its own. All the carriages together, they're too
Yeah,
heavy.
it's like that, and then
Yeah.
yeah.
So, like, let's say there's 10 carriages, one engine at the front. Do you know what they did?
Did they put an engine at the back as well or something?
I mean, you could do that, creates
Okay.
more power. Now, there's a technique that you use, and it's about momentum. So, you join the carriages together through effectively chains. The chain can expand and contract, as in the chain can be fully stretched or it can be loose. And then you don't fully fix the carriages together so that they can bump into each other a little bit. And that's why
Okay.
they have all
Bumper
the
cars.
buffers. So that the locomotive pulls, and at first, only the first carriage starts to move.
Yeah.
Well, now, instead of having just the momentum of a locomotive on its own, you've got the momentum of a locomotive and the first carriage. And the weight of those two pull the second carriage. And now, when that rolls forward a little bit, you've got a locomotive and two carriages that can now pull off the third from the go. And it goes concertinas down so that the last carriage to move is number 10 carriage.
Right.
And so that's the way you create
Yeah. So
momentum.
you're not taking everything at the same time.
Yes, because you haven't got enough
Right.
energy, you've not got enough power to.
Yeah.
And that's a really great momentum example of
Yeah.
how to think of it. You can't do everything at once, but if you can
Hmm.
get a couple of things moving and then add another thing and then add another thing, and now you've got a locomotive with 10 carriages
Hmm.
and big mass rolling along in a direction on a train track. And all you've got to do is put in enough coal to keep the thing moving.
Thank you for that lesson.
Yeah,
So in real life situations then, do you think that creating momentum has been a good thing for you this year?
absolutely. Because I desperately wanted some more momentum in what we were doing.
Mm.
Without it, you can feel a bit lost, can't you?
Yeah.
And I know I did at times, feel lost in terms of I've got all these things going on, but none of them are moving at speed in a particular direction.
And what challenges have you had, even though because you wanted momentum, we've got momentum. Has there been challenges as well with that?
Yeah, of course, all of a sudden you become much busier than
Yeah.
potentially were before. And then your head's now filled up with doing a lot, which is because you're now at speed. And so you're now dealing with all the things that are coming up. And that's making your brain more tired than when you were just thinking about having action
Yes.
versus having action. You have much less time to think, but it's good in that regard. But now you have to try and give yourself little breaks
Okay.
to make sure you're not doing too much. And trying to get that balance right in life is always,
Yeah.
the pendulum swings between too quiet and too busy. And you see people always struggling with it. Too quiet, fed up and unfulfilled. Too busy, overstrained.
And so we put solutions into place for that then.
Yeah, well, last year I think we were really good at time management to bring about more productivity.
Mm.
I think this year is we're again using time management to then protect some free thinking space, some time out of it so that you don't just burn out working flat out like a lot of people do in their day to day life.
Yeah. And what does burnout look like for you?
Good question. I haven't had it for a number of years, but burnout for me is when you're just so overtired in your head, you can barely think straight. And it can make you feel like almost a stuck person in a way where
Mm.
you're just exhausted all the time.
Like decision fatigue and
Yeah.
things like that.
And maybe you're just feeling really fed up with it all.
Maybe
Just really,
making like less positive decisions for yourself as well because you're so tired.
yeah, you're so tired. You just need a break from it all. You can
Yeah.
only, again, it's the whole cycling up the hill at someone else's pace. There's only so long you can sustain it
Yeah.
until eventually your body just says, "Oh, I can't go on anymore." And you have to sit down and you sit beside the road shaking like someone giving you a jelly baby to try and get you going. Like,
On that note, actually, you've been taking, what is it? Is it serotonin gummy bears, you said?
occasionally, yeah.
Yeah, at night, if you do when you wake up.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, no, you don't struggle to go to sleep, but you struggle to stay asleep.
Yeah. So I might wake up at 3 in the morning or something. And so I'm trying these
Yeah,
serotonin
they seem to be
gummy bears.
working.
They seem to help a bit.
That and
Yeah.
some hot milk.
Yeah. Last night was hot milk needed as well. But
This is real life, guys. This is like living in the moment. And I'm trying to share with you. You may have these struggles as well. You may have the hardship as well that comes with like you want to lead a more fulfilling and more intentional life, and you want to go about it. But when you do get there, sometimes that comes with challenges too, which I think is just life. Like life is about challenges. We shouldn't try and avoid them. We should try where we can to embrace them. But even I myself, like, I can see all these things, and sometimes my body seems to fight against me. I'm like, I'm fine, I'm fine. I've got this going. I know what I'm doing and I know what I'm trying, but I still struggle. My body still struggles sometimes. And I think it's just really good for you to understand that you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be a glowing representation of a human being here just to take these small actions in order to better yourself or lead a more fulfilling life, which is really what I think that most people really want to do. That's what they'd like to do. And that's why these episodes I feel are so important is to share these struggles and challenges with you to say that we all go through them, but we're getting through them and we're getting there to the other side as well.
and on that point, it's great when you're talking about, obviously we talk about me, but even with yourself and your
Mm.
own challenges recently, let's say some of momentum is because of fear.
Mhm.
You need to get things done. There's situations that may be arising. You've had to deal with a situation that I've probably helped lean you into hard in the last couple of weeks to then get something done that needed to be done. But if you're not facing the challenge, there's a bump in the road, there's a great big hole in the road, and you've got to do something to get either through
Yeah.
it, round it, over it. You can end up avoiding it. And that's momentum doesn't go well with procrastination. So you have to keep taking action, don't you?
Taking action, making decisions fast if you can, so that you don't wallow in that space, so that the momentum doesn't stop.
To talk without needing to go into the content of what this recent one is, how did you find coming up to needing to take action to then having to take action?
The need to take action it was hard. It was like I knew that it had to be done, and I had been probably putting it off for quite a while, but it was almost just like swallow the pill, get it done, let's go, isn't it? And I think that's
Do you
the
think I helped shove the pill down your throat and the water with it?
Yeah. Can we move it to tomorrow, please? Can we move it to next week, please? Shall we? Because I just don't feel like the vibe is off.
Hold your nose. Come on, it's going in.
I'm no good. Yeah, yeah. So I sometimes need that. I'm very good at being that person for you, And every now and then, Fred needs to come and absolutely hammer something home to me, don't you? And it's just like, no, that's what we're doing, which I actually find quite reassuring as well in its way, because I'm quite a leader and master of like what we're doing and where we're going. Every now and then, when it's taken off of me and it's going, this is what you have to do, and this, you have to go and do it, Andrea. I'm like, okay, fine. Okay. I needed that. I needed the kick up the backside. I needed the spark light in. I needed to be told or given permission. It's the right thing. So I think if you can find a partner in crime, if you can find a bestie, if it's your partner themselves, maybe a family member, maybe it's your mum, your dad, or whatever, and they're quite good at being there for you, it's good to borrow the confidence that it's going to take in order for you to start your mission in creating that momentum for yourself. I do think sometimes it's hard to do things alone, and that's why I'm always very grateful for our relationship, because we've got each other to kind of push when the other one needs it, like the train, isn't it?
Yeah.
We're connected, but with enough flexibility.
I mean, I was going to talk about how you can move your legs.
I don't know where you're going with that, but I think we're nearly done, guys.
I mean, you brought it up.
That's good. Right.
She's speechless.
I am.
I don't
I
know what to
am.
say now. do you?
And crimson.
So when we look at then everything you've done in the past few months and everything we've done together in the past few months, and I'd say to anybody listening right now is if you think this would be useful to anybody else, do share it with them, because sometimes they can't hear it from you, but they'll hear it through a medium like this. And
So true.
we know that sometimes someone tells you something over and over again and you go, read this book. And they go, this book's amazing. Amazing. Like, that's all the stuff I've been telling you, but that's great. You've consumed it in a media that is good for you.
Yeah.
You
Or
know?
it just says the same thing in a different way, or it just lands. It just happens to be in the right time dynamic for you at that very point, isn't it?
It is. And it's just because it's not from you and they won't accept it from you.
No, that's not it. I don't think that's it.
Not in everyone's case, but a
Not
lot,
everyone's
a lot of people listening might think, there's
Yes.
people in my life that
I don't want to listen to.
if I try and give this advice out to people, they won't listen to me, but I can share this
Yes.
and they will probably listen to it and they may make some comments and I'll say, what did you get from it? You know,
Yeah.
I got this from it. What did you get from it? And
Yeah.
sometimes you'll be amazed what they got from it. They might just focus on the flexibility comment. They may focus on some of the other things that we've talked about.
They'll be like, how embarrassing. Yeah, because we have a 22-year-old, and if we had tried to give him any actions, anything, advice or whatever a few years ago, nope, no thank you, not the right time, not the right people. Connor, I know you're watching, and I will say that now he watches this. This is his information source, isn't it? He will now listen to it through a podcast from his mum. Like, it's so bizarre, but sometimes that's what's needed. It needs to be in a podcast, or it needs to be in a book, or it needs to be by somebody else entirely.
He
Yeah.
really does. And he does so well with it, bless him.
He's amazing.
Yeah, amazing.
We love you, Connor.
So I think one of the things for me, and I do really like this, is if you ever do it, you get these personalised journals. Look, so it's a different message every book, and I say to Jay when I need a new one, and then I journal in that. But this one is about momentum, and for us, 2026 is the year of building momentum, but in a direction that we really find more fulfilling for us than potentially our previous directions,
Super intentional.
which is exciting
Yay.
and a bit scary at
Yay.
the same time. But we can say, going back to it though, by building the momentum and then being more transparent with other people, because like one of the things that you were picking up before this podcast was how you have to broadcast it to the world.
Yes.
Your new direction, you have to broadcast it. You can't keep it secret, because by broadcasting it, opportunities will then find you aligned with your new direction. And because it's the direction you want to go in, you then get momentum in what you're doing for the first time. Whereas maybe up to that point, you've really not been broadcasting it to the world that that's what you want to do. Maybe you've been broadcasting another thing that you think people need you to do, but doesn't fulfill you. And I think that's been one of the journey points on this momentum building is
Yeah.
we're building momentum in the direction we want to go, and we'll find people along the way that will reciprocate and want that from us,
Yes.
rather than me thinking this is what I think people need.
Yeah. 100%. And I think that is a really great way to sign off for this podcast. Thank you so much for joining us and spending this time. If you've got to the end of it, thank you. And please do share it with somebody else or across the whole platform. That would be even more wicked.
Don't forget that Drea does want to be the next Mel Robbins. Putting that out there as a broadcast because it's only when said it can possibly happen. Drea is also your best friend in this podcast. Okay.
No, I'm your mate.
But do share it, do enjoy it, do subscribe.
Yeah.
And we really enjoy bringing it to you. Don't forget that Love One Life is about loving the one life that you've got, being present in the moment now and doing your best, doing something every day to make sure that you enjoy life today and that you're doing something to improve and make your life even more enjoyable tomorrow. Life is for living.
It sure is.
Go live it. Thank you very much for watching Love One Life. I'm Fred. This is Drea. Don't forget to follow us, share this with all your friends and your family, and we'll see you on the next episode.
Bye.